This is ABC 7 News, Chicago's #1 news, with Jose Sanders, Judy Sue, weather with meteorologist Tracy Butler, and Roz Barron's traffic. This is ABC 7 News this morning.
Jurors resumed deliberations this morning in the Hudson family murder trial after being sequestered overnight.
And jurors go back to deliberations this morning in the William Balfour trial.
He is accused of killing Jennifer Hudson's mother, brother, and nephew. ABC 7's Jason Knowles is live outside the courthouse this morning. Jason?
Well, good morning, Judy. Good morning, Jose. No verdict yet for William Balfour, the man accused of killing some of Jennifer Hudson's family members. The jury was here deliberating till about 9:30 last night. Before they left, they ate sandwiches, which were delivered for dinner. The jurors had two questions during their 5 hours of deliberations. They asked a question about Balfour's key ring, which prosecutors say had a key of an SUV belonging to Jennifer Hudson's brother. It's the SUV where Jennifer Hudson's nephew was found shot to death. Jurors wanted to know if Balfour's key ring also had a key to the Hudson family home. The judge told them they already had the evidence presented in court. He declined to answer. Jurors also asked for transcripts. Prosecutors say that circumstantial evidence from 80-some witnesses will prove that Balfour killed Jennifer Hudson's mother, brother, and nephew. Judy and Jose, the defense says that there is no DNA evidence linking William Balfour to the crime. Jurors will be back here for deliberation starting at 9:30 this morning. We're live at the criminal courthouse. Jason Knowles, ABC 7 News. Now back to both of you.
All right, Jason, thank you. And right now we're going to turn to attorney Thomas Glasgow, who joins us with a closer look at the deliberations. Good morning, Thomas.
Good morning to both of you.
And what is your expectation here? A quick verdict?
I gave up trying to pick out what juries are going to do years and years ago. You never know what juries are going to do. They're individual entities, and the makeup and the life experiences of those juries can do almost anything. With regard to the evidence that's presented in the case, I was actually surprised that they didn't come back last night with some kind of verdict. But this tells us that there is at least some dissension with regard to the jurors and some discussions amongst the jurors as to whether or not they believe that there's actual linkage from the evidence that the state presented to what William Balfour is accused of doing.
Now, speaking of that evidence, the jury asked for transcripts and asking about the home key of Balfour's key ring, if there was one found. What does this say to you?
Well, when jurors usually ask for transcripts, and they do all the time, generally what the judge will do is say, you know, look, I'm not going to give you the transcripts. Rely upon your own memories, rely upon your own recollections of the evidence, and continue to deliberate. That's why they're allowed to take notes. Your collective knowledge is what we're trying to get to come to a verdict in this matter. So what it tells me is that they're hung up on those issues, and that key that was presented at the end of the state's evidence is truly the key to the actual prosecution as to whether or not there is a direct physical link to what he said to what he didn't do. All right. Remember, he lied about where he was, his CTA pass, etc. And now you've got someone who's built in lies into his actual story as to what's going on being presented by the prosecution, and they've wrecked his alibi. And now you've got somebody with an actual piece of physical evidence that was in his possession that links him directly to the death of the child.
And Thomas, what do you think about the defense putting out such a short defense?
It's always a question as to whether or not to put on your client, especially with someone with the criminal background that Mr. Balfour has. He could undergo some very vicious cross-examination from the state's attorney, which could destroy your ability to end up getting a not guilty verdict. But by the same token, juries want to know, if it's not the person who's accused, who was it that committed the crime? You don't want to let a guilty person go. Juries really, really weigh with that heavily when they're doing murder trials.
Okay, we'll be standing by as always. Our legal analyst, appreciate you being with us, Thomas. Right now it's time for